If there is one bright side to the pandemic, it's that I've had the opportunity to get in touch with music again, which is great because I've really just been faking it these last few years. I don't know if you can tell. And part of that has been reconnecting with the music of my youth, country music, which has been nice. And here's one positive development I can report. The women are back!
There's a hole in the bottle.
Probably the biggest story of the 2010s in mainstream country music was the abrupt disappearance of female voices. It's one of the strangest things I've ever witnessed, because this was never a problem before. It's not like it was this lingering systemic issue. There's always been a strong female presence in Nashville. When I was a kid, it was like an even split. That's the way I remember it, at least. It probably wasn't actually that equal, but it was sure better than zero. And you can't say, like, well, that's just what people want now. The people want what they get. Mainstream country is a weird, enclosed ecosystem where radio still retains massive power. So you can absolutely blame the man for this. I don't know if you've heard of Tomato Gate. If you're not into country music, you probably missed it, but it was and still is a gigantic controversy. Basically, in 2015, some decision maker in country radio said that women were like the tomatoes in the salad of country music. And by that, he meant, not the lettuce, not the base of the salad, those are the men. And presumably not the cucumbers either. I guess those would also be men. And also not the carrots, the croutons, the dressing, whatever proteins you want to throw in there. Those are all men. What the fuck is this analogy? Well, there was a lot of outrage about that, but it didn't really seem to help. The situation only got worse. And that's bad for diversity and representing all perspectives and all those other reasons you already know. But also, it was just really boring. The bro country era was so boring. It was nothing but bikini girls and trucks over and over. But finally, after years of protests outside and inside the industry, the powers that be in Music Row have relented, and we're actually starting to see some real female voices again. For example, climbing way up the charts, the pop charts, is a female country singer. She's all the way up to number 3 this week, Jesus. So I thought I'd give it a look because, that's humongous for a country song, let alone one by a woman. It's not even by one of the established superstars like Miranda Lambert or Little Big Town. It's by a newcomer, Gabby Barrett, all of 20 years old. Is the song any good? Well, we'll get to that, but I can tell you this much. The fact that I'm doing an episode on it is already a great sign for country music. Most of these country songs I couldn't talk about for 30 seconds. What else new is there to say about Florida Georgia Line's latest piece of shit? They've been making the same song for 8 years. So whether or not I like this song, at least it's a change of pace, and it might lead to more change later. That's a good thing. Unlike most crossover country hits, this song had a slow climb to the top. It actually came out 2 years ago, but it only started getting airplay at the beginning of this year, and it's only peaking just now. It's called I Hope.
I hope she makes you smile the way you made me smile.
Her hopes revolve around some guy she used to like, and him meeting the girl of his dreams.
I hope you both feel as sparks by the end of the drive. I hope you know she's the one by the end of the night.
And it goes on and on like this, all through the verse and into the chorus, about how she hopes that this girl makes him so extremely happy, upends his life and a marriage and a future and all that. And she just fills his heart with love and devotion. And then the kicker.
And I hope she cheats like you did on me. And then I hope she cheats.
Ha! Okay. So I don't know what the critics' takes are on this one. Obviously, the masses seem to like it a lot. Me, personally, doesn't really work for me. It's actually been rubbing me wrong all year. The more I heard it, the more it just made me feel icky and gross. I've spent much of this year trying to disentangle why it doesn't work for me. I guess we can start with the fact that I've been talking about what a refreshing voice she is. She's not really that fresh.
I'm super excited to meet Carrie Underwood.
I started singing country music because of you.
Gabby Barrett has already taken a lot of comparison to Carrie Underwood. She's a blonde with a big voice like Carrie. She came from American Idol, as did Carrie. Carrie came back to Idol as a guest judge that season, so Gabby sang one of her songs. Gabby may be dealing with this comparison for the rest of her life, especially since her big hit sounds pretty darn close to Carrie's big crossover hit. In 2007, Carrie Underwood hit the top 10 with Before He Cheats, where she also sings about a cheating boyfriend getting what he deserves.
Maybe next time I'll think before he cheats.
You almost certainly remember it. It was one of the biggest country hits of the century. It's the one where she trashes the shit out of her boyfriend's car. I really did not like Before He Cheats either. Or at least I didn't at the time. My objections were pretty basic. Like trashing the guy's car. That's psychotic. Don't do that. Bad message to be sending out in the world, Carrie. And let's be real, I might not have liked it because I'm a guy. Like, it's not really a song I can sing along with. It's not funny when a guy sings about getting violent with an ex. Or at least that's what I thought. A guy did sing a song like this shortly afterwards.
So I jacked the keys to her father's car and crashed that Chevrolet and then stepped away.
But, he rightly went to jail at the end of that song. Carrie presumably gets away with it. Double standard much? Well, that's where I was in 2007. These days, my feelings on it are a lot more copacetic. The song's cute. What am I going to be offended by it? No. So she trashes a car. So what? It's just a car. Also, it's a song. It's not real. I'm still not really a fan of it, but if it makes you feel better to imagine going to town on some cheating asshole's hot rod, you know what? Go for it. Now, I Hope is a lot like Before He Cheats. In fact, I Hope She Cheats would be a much better title, but that's probably too similar to Before He Cheats, so they shortened it. Or maybe it'd give away the punchline too quickly, I don't know. But despite the similarities, in a lot of ways, I Hope is also a serious improvement on Before He Cheats. Before He Cheats still doesn't really work for me. It's too cartoony. Carrie walks away all self-satisfied. She doesn't even really sound very hurt or angry, and the revenge doesn't really seem to address the situation.
Maybe next time I'll think before he cheats.
Or maybe he won't. Maybe he'll just get a new car. The insurance will cover it. He'll be banging bar skanks in the backseat in no time. It's not a very satisfying revenge. And for the record, yes, you can go too far in the other direction too.
How do you like me now?
Toby Keith's awful but hugely successful How You Like Me Now sees some girl turn Toby Keith down in high school, but she gets hers because now she lives in total soul-destroying misery.
You're always alone and your kids hear you cry down the hall.
Haha, that's really depressing. Go fuck yourself, Toby Keith. I Hope gets it right.
I hope she makes you feel the same way about her that I feel about you right now.
The punishment fits the crime. He cheated on her, he gets cheated on. Bam. And when they're done right, I love revenge songs. Old, new, serious, silly, whatever.
Who's sorry now?
Beautiful. Just twist that knife. But I Hope doesn't hit the same. And thinking about it, the reason why is right in the title. I Hope She Cheats. This isn't a song about getting revenge. It's a song about wanting revenge. It's all Gabby's imaginings about what she wants to happen, and she has thought about this a lot.
I hope she comes along and wrecks every one of your plans.
She has thought very hard about how she wants this to go down, like how perfect his new love is, how wonderful she makes him feel, how thoroughly she changes his life before the betrayal.
I hope it's when your last time to put a rock on her head.
It's a lot. And there's also kind of a weird thing here where, unlike most songs, you can just repeat the same chorus and we're fine with the repetition, but here it's structured as a sequential, chronological narrative. So before we get to the second chorus, first this girl has to get caught cheating,
Yeah, babe, I hope she shows up in a 2 a.m. pic from a friend hanging on to a guy.
and then they have a lot of difficult conversations and reconcile,
Forgive and just about forget and take her on a first date again.
then they start over from the beginning and fall in love all over again, only for her to cheat on him in the chorus a second time.
And then I hope she cheats.
I like to imagine the extended remix of this song. It's like 7 verses long, and in each verse they work through their issues, and then every chorus she cheats on him again. He just doesn't learn very fast. Also, for some reason, she also imagines that his dream girl is equally in love with him too. That's not how this is supposed to work. The made-up girl should be as mean to him as you feel towards him. Otherwise, you just got this extra person who presumably feels bad that she keeps screwing around on him. Why are you wishing torment on this fictional character you made up? A good revenge fantasy doesn't have unnecessary details like this. But that's not really what bothers me. What I think bothers me is just that it's all spite and bitterness. Like, there's nothing wrong with negative emotions in a song, but there's also no catharsis in it. At least Carrie got to fuck shit up. Here, the revenge is just imaginary. You can't really sympathize with her pain and anger because she's not really asking for sympathy. She barely even mentions herself. All we get from her is going into absurd detail about how she wants this guy to hurt. What it reminds me of is, like, we've all had to be there for a friend who needed to unload, but then they get to a point where they're so deep in their own anger that you start slowly backing away.
Here you go.
Thanks, bartender. I need this. I had the shittiest day at work. Oh, my boss gets hit by a fucking car.
Yep, and there.
No, I hope he gets hit by a fucking truck. I hope it smashes him right in his fucking turd little rat face.
I hear you, buddy.
Yeah, I hope it hits him face first and then fucking rolls over him and crushes every bone in his fucking body.
Yep. Alright, I'm gonna go over here.
No, hold on. After it rolls over that dickless little fuck, I hope it backs up back over him, then rolls over his fucking head, and then it finds his kids and does the same thing to them in front of him while he fucking watches.
Okay.
And then...
Buddy, I'm gonna need my tip in advance.
So yeah, that's my feelings on why this doesn't work. The spite is too much. Revenge is a dish best served cold. I guess that's not a very common opinion since I Hope is a big hit right now. And not one of those one-week wonders like we tend to get these days. It didn't start out big. It started small and then grew big, which is very rare these days. Oh, and I guess I should mention the thing that sent it over the top. There's a new version that's been circulating around with your friend and mine, Charlie Puth. This...
And when you're leaning for a kiss,
yeah, no.
I hope she comes along and wrecks every one of your plans.
The random chart-goosing duet is starting to become one of my least favorite trends in music. It's always so cynical, and the results are never good. Taylor Swift's Lover did not need Shawn Mendes on it. Justin Bieber's presence didn't benefit Bad Guy in any way except on the charts. It's clickbait, basically. These remixes only exist to attract a few thousand extra curious eyeballs and give the song an extra bump. At least I think that's what Charlie Puth is doing. It could also be the country music thing where to cross over, you need a pop singer to escort you past the velvet ropes. Like how Maren Morris couldn't get into the top 40 without Hozier. And then once she got in, everyone realized Hozier wasn't necessary and he had nothing, so they tossed that version in the garbage. Like, yes, I know rappers have been doing this forever. Like, hands up if you remember the version of Rehab with the Jay-Z verse on it. But I was more okay with that. At least a rapper takes the song in a different direction. They add their own personality to it. These pop singers guesting on pop songs never add a thing. If the song needed a second person, they would have already been on it. This song makes no sense as a duet, and Charlie's voice doesn't do anything interesting with hers. It's just terrible all the way around. So there, that's my verdict on the song. It just doesn't work for me in either version. Except in one particular instance.
We can now project that former Vice President Joe Biden has been elected President of the United States.
This is the first episode I've done since the 2020 election. It's actually coming out a little late because I was glued to the television for a week. I don't go out of my way to be political on here, but I didn't make it a secret that I think these last 4 years have been a hellish nightmare. So after all that stress, I expected to feel massive relief once it was all over and go back to a more level-headed state of mind. What actually happened is that I became my absolute worst self. I ate nothing but schadenfreude for a week. I should have died from dehydration because of the salt and all the tears I was drinking. I've since come down from that, as I realized that it's still 2020 and things are still mostly shit. But while I was in it, I tried to get back to writing this episode, and all of a sudden, while I was in the pettiest, most spiteful mood of my life, everything about this song finally started to click. It's worn off now, so I stand by all my complaints. But at the very least, I get this song now. And even though I'm back to not liking it, I'm sure there will be points in my life where I just feel so angry and vindictive that I like the song again. But I won't be in that frame of mind anytime soon, I hope. Well, see ya.
Like it did on me.